Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. My mic got disabled in OBS. Can you hear me okay now? Could be a little bit quiet. So if you could just let me know if you can hear me okay in chat. Sure. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me alright now. I've myself turned up, so just let me know if you can't. About halfway there. Yeah, so just let me know if it's too quiet. I'll push it closer or see if I can boost it or whatever. I have it up full now, so let me know if it's too loud. Okay, so yeah, I was just explaining there while my mic was off that I use a service called Restream.io to restream. I stream to them, and then they stream to YouTube and Twitch. And for some reason, integration with Twitch seems to be broken today for them, so I'm only streaming to YouTube. So, oh well, that'll be nice to bunch everybody together for a change, anyways. Yeah. So in this video, I want to use an ESP8266, which is an Arduino with built-in Wi-Fi, to scrape a web page to pull down information based on my connection to my internet. So the reason I'm able to stream is because I got new internet recently. So I've got two internet lines in my house. I've got a phone line, so I've regular DSL internet, and yeah, so Gary was saying in the chat that he got the notification. So I had an event set up in Twitch, but it just yeah, it failed to connect, so I'm not sure what happened really. But yeah, so this, I have a DSL connection, but that was too slow of upload, so I tried out mobile broadband, and I have it with 3, and I hopefully you can't hear the, oh, there's my dogs. Anyways, I've got 3 mobile broadband, and the upload of that is much better. Like I did a speed test just before I started here, and I had 60 megs down and 10 megs up, while I'm live now. Okay. Yeah, so what I want to do in this video is, this is my router here, and I want to pull some of the information off this page. So as you can see here, it shows my reception. I've got 4 bars, and it's connected as 4G. And I would like a little device on my desk that shows maybe those connection details here. I originally thought when I put up the events for this stream that this would be really straightforward, and I did a tiny bit of looking just before I went live, that just to see what's involved or whatever, and I think it might be a little bit more challenging than I originally thought. So it might be this might be more exploratory than actually finishing a product off. So as you can see, this is a pretty simple web page, and if I right click up here, view page source, sorry, if I right click up here and inspect element, so I'm kind of in the way here, so let me drag it across and see if I can zoom in maybe. Yeah, it's a bit zoomed in, but so that dialog is pretty simple. It's you know, it's a small div with here, and then everything you need is basically, you know, contained within this div. So that's pretty small and would be really easy to parse. The problem is that this page is dynamic, so that's fine when it's in a browser and it's loaded like that. But if I go to inspect element, or sorry, view page source, which is the page the ESP8266 will see if it requests if it requests this web page, it's going to see this, and there is that information is not on this page. So this page gets pulled down, and then JavaScript is used to build up the rest of it, I guess. And the ESP8266 is not going to be able to do that because it doesn't have a browser. So yeah, we might have to see a couple of different things on how to do this. So one thing as well that I saw was, again, we'll bring you across here. If we look at the network traffic, so this is the requests that are going back from the browser to the router. Again, sorry if you can hear my dogs. So get status by ajax.cgi, and then RID equals 393. I don't know what that RID is, but this event happens quite a lot after the page loads. So this is what's constantly refreshing the values up the top there. So that looks relatively promising. One thing I don't like about it, just from a quick look, is that it does have a cookie. So, and it probably is different. Well, maybe it's not. So maybe we can just kind of hard code that cookie in. I'm not sure exactly how that works. But I can see here that it has an XML response, which is kind of unusual. I might just hide myself for a second because I'm kind of in the way. Desktop only, is it? Yeah. Actually, sure. It's just the board that's in the way. Yeah. So it's kind of unusual that it has an XML response rather than a JSON one, but it doesn't really matter. So there's statuses here. I'm not fully sure what they all mean, but I'm sure like signal 22 somehow corresponds back to you know, that there's only 4 bars or 5 bars or whatever it is. And if you had that information, you could play around with it a bit to, you know, move it somewhere that it had worse reception. Like I'm presuming that there's 58 messages and 16 of them are new. And you can see here my operator is 3. I don't need that information, but mode name 4G would be useful. So I, as a simple test to see whether this would work for me, I just did a request of this straight in my browser, and it returned a 404. So that was off to a bad start with just doing a random request like that. So yeah, it'd be interesting now to see what we can do with this. Yeah, maybe if I just change the ID at the end. I'm not sure exactly. Like, yeah, I don't know why RID is changing. Maybe it's just random ID to make sure that sometimes like your browser will cache a response that has the same like URL. So if they just put a random number at the end of it, it can't cache it. So, you know, it makes this request every second, we'll say. And if it always was the same URL, your browser might be like, I went and got this a second ago and it was this value, so I'll just give that back to them again to speed it up. So it's probably just that. So I'd imagine it's the cookie that is causing it. Yeah. So Mamadou in the chat was asking about a specific ESP8266 module. I won't be able to help at the moment. I don't know where you would find that information. I've never seen the OpenSmart one. If you take a look at if you search for Sonoff ESP8266 boards, they only expose those 4 pins, so you might be able to, you might be able to find a guide on how to program a SONOFF, and it could be the same as that. So that's SONOFF. Okay, so I'd imagine that this cookie is the problem, and maybe we'll check to see is it the same amongst the different requests, and maybe then we can use that to we can just add that into our header in the request that we make from the ESP. So yeah, originally I thought this would be a lot more in the Arduino IDE, but I think we'll probably be doing a bit of figuring out on what is the correct request to make to the router to get it back. I was fully sure that I was just going to be able to make a GET request to 192.168.1.1 and get back, a web page, and we'd just be able to scrape that. But yes, I guess we live in a world where JavaScript has taken over. So let me just keep this off screen for a second, and I just want to copy in 2 cookies and compare them. So that's off one here, and let's take it off that one here. They look the same, but I don't know for sure yet. So yeah, they look the same to me. Yeah, 2 results. So maybe we can just paste this cookie in and it will be okay. Not fully convinced on that, but we'll see. So another tip I would have for doing this kind of a project with the ESP is developing on the ESP is really slow in terms of, like, if I want to try this out and find out it doesn't work, I'll have spent maybe like 20 minutes seeing if it works and getting it to compile and putting it on the board. And so you want to do as little of this sort of work on your board as possible. So I'm going to use a tool, probably Postman, I'm not sure, which will Postman Patrick. So this is a tool for making kind of like low-level web requests, so like GET or POST or anything like that, and you can add, manually add headers and different things like that. So if you're big into Linux or command lines, you'd probably be using grep, or not grep, curl for this. So take me straight to the app. Let me show you here. So I just downloaded this off Chrome. I just typed it in and Googled. Router info. I don't think I need anything else here. So do I? No. Search for create collection. So I'll just call this ESP8266. Yeah. So this is a tool for making like GET or POST requests, and you can add headers and different things like that. So so what we'll do is we'll close this, open up this, I'll make this maybe half size, use this the other side. So the text is a bit blurred, my head is in the way. Let me see if I can zoom stuff in. I can't zoom in Postman. I can zoom in the browser, which is this part over here, if that'll help. I'll try to talk through what I'm doing over here. Hopefully that'll help. There won't actually be too much stuff going in here on the left, so hopefully it won't be too bad. So yeah, I'll try point out to what I'm doing over on the right here because it is a good bit clearer. Um, so the request URL for the get here is going to be this request URL here. It's kind of a little bit confusing. I'm looking at I'm looking at the same screen almost 3 times because I'm keeping an eye on my OBS screen to make sure that you can see everything okay. That's on my left monitor over here, and then the screen that I'm actually doing the work on is on that screen. But I'm also keeping an eye on the YouTube chat, which also has another screen. It could pop it out, I suppose, but that's good to see that it hasn't gone down or hasn't gone jumpy. But that's maybe a few seconds behind as well, so it's pretty interesting. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to put the request URL into the top here, and we won't need to worry about the random ID, or if that is random ID. I presume it is, because it was the browser that would have been caching the thing before, but we won't ever cache it. So if we can just pass in any random ID, we can just reuse it again, because we'll be in charge of the code, so we won't be caching it ever. So I'm just going to click send on this one once, and I got header back a 404 not found, so the same as I got before. So now let's add some headers. So I just went over to the header tab. The 404 not found is here. Let's go to the header tabs, and we'll go to bulk edit, I suppose. And I'm going to view source on these. So that was a post. Interesting. Maybe that's the problem. So if I do change this over to a post and click send. Cool. Way better. So the thing I figured out there was, so when you just go to the top of your URL up here and type in an address, that's a GET request. But a POST request is normally there would be like a payload in the body. So if you were there is like HTTP protocols that you're meant to use these in. So if you're fetching data from a web server, you would use a GET request. So this should be a GET request from a HTTP protocol perspective, because they are not sending data into the web server, they are retrieving it. It should be a GET. So why this is a POST, especially because they don't put anything in the body, I have no idea. This is weird. But fine, that I don't mind. We can do a post on the ESP, no problem. And I don't have to do anything with cookies, so great. I'm feeling a whole lot better about the whole situation now. I still don't know what signal actually means, so that's interesting. Like I don't know how I'm going to represent the the bar graph. So I might just I presume signal is to do with that. We might be able to kind of see the code in the JavaScript to see what happens with this signal value, and does how does that convert to let me just grab this thing here, to this, because like if I inspect this element over here, like the 4 bars thing is an image. So you can see this image here. Oops. No, you can't. 1 second. So you can see there's an image there, 192.168 res signal 4 or whatever it's called. And like I can change this to something else, and it changes the image here. So like in code, they're taking that signal somewhere and converting it to, hey, display this image that has 4 bars or 3 bars or 5 bars or whatever. So we might be able to find out what happens there. But the first thing I think we'll do is just to make it a slight bit more interesting, because it's been pretty boring so far, is I think we might just get the screen working, just displaying anything. So you know, that would be more what people on my channel would normally want to see. So rather than me trying to debug scraping stuff from a web page. So yeah, let's start by doing that, and we can then we can add the post request to get that detail. So yeah, I'm feeling a good bit better. So Matt in the chat is saying, I think a post might ensure no cached response. Yeah, that could be it. All right. It's still strange with the RID thing at the end as well. Yeah, there should be other ways that you can ensure no cached response. I don't think I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen someone use a post to retrieve data when they didn't need to send any inputs. Like, I've seen it all over the place that you know, some people in work would be like really militant about, hey, you are sending data, or you're retrieving data from that web server, you need to use a get here, even though your input parameters might have like 500 of something, and that's not feasible to put at the end of a URL. But you know, so yeah, never seen it the other way around though. So but I'm not too worried about it now. Okay, so let me just pull up the Arduino IDE. Don't know if it's gonna open over on your page. No. Okay, so let's start a new sketch. So I've used this screen on a few projects before. Let me get the screen back in play, and I'll move myself back over here. I might make this a bit smaller, and I'll bring this down maybe, and I'll zoom in. Let me know how that is focused wise. Should be okay, I think. I can make the code screen a bit bigger too. 18. Okay, so I've used the screen in a few projects before. It's really nice because it only has 4 pins, and it doesn't need any external components, so you can just wire it straight to pins on the ESP8266, and it's all good. Alright, so let me see, do I have it installed here? Examples. Huh. My Arduino IDE is not letting me load the examples folder. Perfect. Get ticker info. Oh, I wonder what's up with that. Oh, there we go. So I have I installed the screen on this Arduino before? I don't see that I have. Oh, I have this one here. So this is called an OLED screen. It's the 1.3 inch version. There's also a 1 inch version. It works the exact same and is wired the same. So this this library that I'm using to control it, I'll just show you it now, is one by a guy called Daniel Eichhorn. Hopefully my Swiss pronunciation is okay. Sorry, Daniel, if you're watching. So it's this one here. So if you search for OLED, it's the one by Daniel Eichhorn, and I think it works. I think it works pretty well. So yeah, that's good. We can just pull up an example of it here. Simple demo, just to show it working. So he is so he's using D3 and D5 as his wiring points. So he's using D3 as SDA, and then D5 as his SCL, So I'll show you the desk now, a bit bigger. I don't know, that doesn't look fully focused. Let me just try one more. Right, there's a bit of a shine. Okay, cool. That's not too bad. So you can hopefully you can see it. It's a little bit small, but the pins on the screen are ground, VCC, SCL, so source clock, and SDA, which is, I guess, source data. So this is using a connection called I2C. Just to say hey to some people in the chat, Gary was saying some of us are way more relaxed when it comes picked get versus post. Yeah, I'm more relaxed about it too, but I've never seen somebody use a post when they didn't have to. Anyways, yeah. So Madamu, my ESP has nearly 10 pins. So this is called a Wemos D1 Mini, and I'd really recommend this one. So, like a lot of ESPs, I'll just grab one. You might be more used to working with ESPs that look like this. I don't particularly like these ones because they fit in a breadboard, but you know, if you put them into a breadboard, you're joining those pins together. They need, you know, an external programmer. Like I have. You had a nice gut shot of my stomach there. Sorry. Yeah, so use an external programmer to program it. So yeah, I don't really like them that much because they are a little bit cheaper than this, but this is like $2.50 or something from AliExpress, while this is maybe $1.50. So the price difference is pretty negligible, and size wise there is a little bit of a size difference, but it's not crazy. It's maybe half the size, but with this one it has a micro USB connection, so we can program it directly. It has all the pins broken out, so it's got 9 digital pins, the 2 serial pins, an analog pin, and it also has a built-in 3.3 volt regulator, so you can even supply 5 volts on this pin here and it'll still convert it down. And it has a nice little reset button. So yeah, that's a Wemos D1 Mini, so I'd really recommend one of those. Yeah, I think, to be honest, using any other kind of ESP is just making it hard on yourself. Like like the other type of things that I see people do is use ESP, like this is the same module that this board uses, and they solder whatever components they need, and it's just like, I don't know, unless you're making a big run of something, I don't know why you wouldn't just use that. Like, it's not a big price difference. So hello to Shinvision, how's it going? Right, so let's connect up this screen and away we go. So I've got some jumper cables here. I'll try. They are probably going to affect your focus now. I'll try keep them out of the way. So I'm going to connect 3.3 volts to VCC. So that's that one done there. I'm going to connect ground of the board here, which is down here, to ground of the screen. And then we were saying in the sketch that D3 was connected to SDA and D5 was connected to SCL. So let's go with D5 first. We'll go with this yellow one. So I'll just connect up SCL over here and D5. One of the other reasons that I really like, one of the other reasons I really like this the Wemos D1 Mini. Like there's other boards like that that break out these pins. Node MCU is one. Node MCU development board it's called. But this fits in a breadboard. Now there's only room for one connection after that. I can let me grab you a link to one. So I'm just gonna grab a link to the board. Just 2 seconds. Live now. Let's see, video on, yes. Oops. Yep, it's 2 seconds now. I have a link for you. That's the one that I use. So it's $2.70 including shipping, and it even includes the header pins and a selection of header pins too. So it's pretty good value, I would say. Now that might take a while to get to you, especially just after Christmas. I find AliExpress is really slow, but yep, I do really recommend it. Okay, so that was our D5 connected up here, and now let's connect our SDA to D3. So I'll use white for that, for no other reason than it was the first one I got. Okay, cool. So hopefully I've successfully kept those wires out of your way for seeing the screen. Okay, so now let's apply some power to my ESP. So yeah, as I said, this is the handy thing about these modules here, is that I can just plug it straight in, and that's power for it now, and I'm able to program with it, so pretty good. So let me just bring you over to desktop. So I'm gonna go to Tools, Port, select port 3, that's the port that my board is connected to here, and I don't think I need to connect anything else. Now I don't think I've ever ran this demo before, so maybe I don't have everything installed, but we'll see. We'll click upload and see what happens. So yeah, the other things that I have, I've selected the board, the Wemos D1 Mini from this board's drop down. Upload speed is 921/600. I find this fails sometimes. Maybe it works 4 out of 5 times at this speed. I find the 11.5200 works all the time, but the 921/600 is much faster. So it, even if it does fail that one time, it's worth it. Huh. That looks pretty awful. I wonder what's up with that. Maybe I'm using the wrong board. Let me just grab a project where I used this before. YouTube. Crypto display. So this is a display I made for displaying cryptocurrency prices. So I just want to make sure that I'm using the correct. So SCL is D5, SDA is D3. Yeah, I did the same as that. Display. Okay, I'm using the wrong display. I should be using this SH106. So yeah, I have the wrong display configured. So if we go back here, so let's get rid of that and bring, I guess, this one in. No, not that one. Here, this one. It's gonna want me to save this now as well. Okay, that should be that guy. And let's get rid of this one and put this one in instead. So I'm just gonna try upload this without saving. It's weird that it works at all. I guess they're similar enough that it does. Yeah, so this is the interesting thing about doing it live. When I'm making videos, I hide all this from you. So you can see the main desk with me. So you can see the display is working away there. It doesn't look that flickery. In fact, it doesn't look flickery at all in real life. It looks perfectly solid. So it's a nice screen because of how easy it is to set up, and like it also you can see the mess over there. Let me just focus you up a bit. Like it's very visible from like all different types of angles, and you know, so it's a really nice screen. I'd recommend it. I can send you a link to that too if you want it. Throw it in the chat because I have it on that cryptocurrency project. So there, if you want it, that's the screen. I'll update the video description with this stuff afterwards too. So let me pull you back down here and get you focused again. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I don't know if I can get you straight again though. There. Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good screen. So we can now, I guess what we'll do is we'll make a simple sketch using this screen. Just to say, we'll start by saying like connection type, and we'll print off whether it's 3G or 4G or I don't know what it says if it fails, but we'll just return whatever it says in that connection mode or whatever it was in Postman, mode name. And yeah, so we'll just display mode name on screen. Those links bring you to AliExpress homepage. Turn off, do you have ad block on or something weird like that? They work for me. No, they don't. Or the second one doesn't anyways. Interesting. Okay. Huh. Does it do it for me here? Ah, it works fine for me not on YouTube. I'll tell you what, I'll link to my on that page you'll see a link to the OLED screen, and if you go to any of my other videos really, I'll have a link to the ESP board in there. And yeah, I'll update the chat later on, and if you want one, Matt, you can just call to my house. The GitHub link 404s. What is with that? I have no idea. I guess YouTube is like blocking what it's blocking stuff. Yeah, that's weird. I can't. If you just copy the links, they don't work either. Huh, that is super weird. Okay, I'll update the video description with the links. Sorry about that. Edit video. seconds now. Grab a link to that. I haven't tested those links before I gave them to you. That's disappointing. Okay, so I just saved changes to the video description now, so you should see the links there now. Sorry about that. I must figure that out for the next time why they aren't working. Okay, back to business. So we'll get back to our Arduino IDE, so desktop. So we'll just create a new sketch, and I always like to save it first, and I'll save it as, they're getting garbage in the post, probably. Yeah, Mamadou, I used to use Deal Extreme like back in college. I just found they got more expensive compared to other places. Like, you'll find those modules on Deal Extreme for sure. I think they'll be more expensive. Now, I haven't checked them in a while, but I find AliExpress are the cheapest. Yeah, so okay, so I'm gonna just save, like when I start a new sketch, I like to save it first. So I'm just gonna call it router info display or something. Seems like a decent name for that. Okay, so I am going to just copy over the stuff I need from here. So I need this, I guess. So wire, that's an I2C library. It comes built in with Arduino. Only needed for Arduino 1.65 and earlier, so I probably don't even need it, but I'll just leave it there anyways. I don't need images, I would say. I don't need images, I would say. I'm just gonna do simple text. So, and they're just the images, like, you know, those screens, and probably the loading bar might be an image too, and the Wi-Fi symbol definitely is an image. So I'm just going to copy in the wiring details as well. I think that's always pretty useful to have in your sketch. So when you go back to it later, you'll remember actually what you were doing. So, and then we'll bring in this display too. Okay, so then we will initialize serial in our setup. So if you're not familiar with the Arduino IDE, so setup gets run once, and then loop will get run over and over again. So if you want to do things like set up a screen or things or whatever, it will be there. That's the right place to do it. So Mamadou is from Senegal. Cool. Yeah, AliExpress deliver to most people on AliExpress deliver free to Ireland as well. I found that some have started to charge. I don't know if that's just to Ireland or if it's to everybody, but yeah. So we have to initialize the screen and flip screen vertically. So vertical is standing up. So it's the right way at the moment, and in this demo it's flipping the screen vertically, so I might also flip the screen vertically too. So what do we want to do here? Yeah, so set text alignment left. Yeah, so this is just where he draws the font. So what I'll do here is I'll create a method called display info, and I'll get it to take a string. Jeez, it's been so long since I worked on Arduino stuff. I completely forget how to initialize anything. I presume I do that. Wow, it really has been ages. I don't think I've written Arduino code in like 2 months. Okay. Cool, display info. So we'll say connection mode. so we'll pass that in. So we need to clear the screen at some stage. So do they? Yeah. So we'll clear the screen before first thing we do in display info, and then we will. Then also when you're finished kind of putting text on the screen, you need to call the display.display. So we need to put our stuff in here. So we'll be adding to this later as well. So like the connection speed or whatever, we'll be adding to that. We may as well put it in now, I guess. Seeing as signal, I guess we'll call it signal. That might be. Signal looked kind of protected, so let's call it signal value. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that. Let me get rid of that. So sorry, if there's anything that you missed over on the right here, just let me know. I'll go back over it. I kind of forgot that the display was covering that side. So yeah, so what we'll do here is we'll go back to the example and we'll look at the text alignment, the draw font face. Yeah, let's just grab this. So I've already set the font, so I don't need to do it again. I'll set text alignment to be left. So that's just, you know, the text that we want to put in. We want it to start on the left and go across. So text set alignment. Set text alignment left, and then we're going to do draw string 00. So what that is let me just bring back the display. So that's the top, I presume it's the top left. Second comma is a mistake. Yes, it is a mistake. Come on. Hey, sorry about that. My OBS just stopped streaming. I don't know if it was an internet problem or not. So hopefully you can hear and see me again now. So I saw their continuum in the chat mentioned that the second comma was a mistake. I was looking for it. Yep, that is definitely a mistake. So thanks for that. Saves me recompile. Yeah, so I'll put in hello world first, and we'll just kind of figure out exactly how it works out. And or will we? No, we'll just put in connection type. What do I do here? I guess I could do string connection message is equal to connection type There's probably more efficient ways of concatenating the strings like that, but I'm just going to do this for the moment. And yeah, so let's grab this. So let's grab both of them actually. We'll change this to signal message. Signal strength. Ugh. Get away, insert. I'll put in signal value and we'll change that to that. Now we need to put it down on a new line as well. So if this font is 10 tall, then I guess putting it down 10 should move it down 10. If you wouldn't mind just letting me know in the chat if you can see and hear okay again, just after the reconnection, that would be great. So I'll put it down 12. Just we can change it anyways. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so cool. Thank you, Matt. So in our loop here, I wouldn't normally advise just doing a delay on an ESP. So you know, the delay is just basically I want you to pause here for this many milliseconds. So because the ESP is single threaded, all Arduinos really are, that if you say, hey, I want to pause here for 1 second, you can't do anything else. So button presses aren't received, or unless they're interrupts. But you know, like, you don't want to basically clog your board. So what you'd normally do is kind of put in like a timer using there's a command called millis, which returns the amount of milliseconds that have passed since startup, basically. And you kind of use a timer. So you know, if you want to wait a second, you would. So hopefully we're back again now. I've no idea what's going on. I guess my internet is dropping. I don't know. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get going again and it doesn't interrupt. Yeah, that's really disappointing. Okay, so all we can do is keep going and hope that it doesn't happen again. But if it does, maybe we'll have to finish up. Or there's one other thing I can try as well, is the signal connection for my router is better if I drop the 3G. It's not as fast, but it should be fast enough to stream at 720, which I do here. So hopefully, sure, we'll see how we get on anyways. But I was just explaining about the millis. So yeah, you'd start a millis, take that time and compare it with millis every loop, and once it's over 1,000 more, then you know to kick it off again. Yeah, so let's horse on, as they say. So we're just gonna do a delay and then do display info, and we're just gonna hard code it at the moment. So we'll say connection type is 4G. Yeah, OBS, the software I use for streaming, it has a little kind of indicator down the bottom right of like the connection health, basically, and like it's just green, uploading at 2,000 kilobytes per second, and then like just every those 2 times I've just looked over at that indicator and it's red, and I'm like, oh, cool. So we'll just put in a signal of 20. I have no idea what I'm going to pass into that yet, but we'll see. Okay, so that should be enough for us to upload, so I'm just going to upload it and see what happens. I guess I may as well bring back my screen. So it's just it's still compiling. If I moved my head out of the way, I'll just move it over here. So it's just compiling Sketch at the moment. So it's now uploading. And there. So let's move to main desk with me. So again, you can see connection type is 4G and signal strength is 20, so that's working pretty good. We'll probably be able to make it bigger, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. So I think it would be better to move on to actually getting real data on that screen. Again, like in real life, there is none of that flicker whatsoever. It looks perfect. So yeah, don't be put off by that if you're thinking about getting that kind of a screen. Okay, so back to desktop. So now we need to do some Arduino posting. So I've done post using Arduino before, using That looks weird. Okay. Whatever that was. So if I go to Universal Telegram Bot, it's a library I've written for the Telegram API, bot API. So if we, this is actually this is an okay resource for like different types of HTTP requests, because I've done a good few different ones in it. So like there's an example of a post. There's an example of a post, and there's an example of even this what's this thing called? Multi-content type post or whatever. Where is it? Multi-part form data. So you might use that for like uploading an image to a web server or whatever, and there's also GET requests in here too. But we just need a pretty simple post, so we'll grab that stuff from it. So I'll just move that over to the side and get our router display info. So we're also going to need to bring in Wi-Fi code into this too, actually. So maybe that's the first thing we should do. So we just want to connect to the Wi-Fi, and do I have anything that does that? Get ticker info does. And let's get rid of that screen for the minute. Okay, so my arm is sore. Anyways, so we'll bring in this Wi-Fi, ESP8266 Wi-Fi. So this is Wi-Fi client secure. We don't need that. We just need Wi-Fi client, I think it's called. So Wi-Fi client secure supports HTTPS, but it's like HTTPS requests, they use like 20,000 kilobytes of memory, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but yeah, it is on an ESP8266. So I am going to just do something off screen, and I'll actually, it's kind of an interesting tip. So I'll bring this over here for a second, and I'll show you what I mean now. So just to not give you my Wi-Fi password, so I'm just going to bring in these Wi-Fi connection stuff. Wonder what that was. Cool. Java just threw an exception. I don't know what that was about. Okay, so the cool little tip is, it's kind of weird actually, until you kind of realize what's going on, is that your ESP8266 will save your last known connection details. Let me just get rid of that because I don't want it. It saves your last known connection details in flash memory, even without you doing anything. So like if you have a sketch that connects to the Wi-Fi, and then you upload a Blink sketch to it, your ESP8266, if you don't specifically say, hey, forget that network, even if you don't have any code that says anything about Wi-Fi in it, it will connect to the Wi-Fi, to the last known one. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to off screen upload a sketch that has my credentials on it, and then I'm going to take them away again and bring them back, and it's going to, every time I upload it, once I tell it to not forget those details, it'll remember them in the background. So just while I am doing that, Mamadou, let me know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong as well. I'm sorry if I am. Mamadou is saying, would it work if you're connected? This alone, yeah, this scraping thing will only work if we're on the same network, because I need to be able to request the page of the router. You could do like port forwarding, but I wouldn't recommend port forwarding to your router page. Just doesn't seem like a good idea, because if people got access to that, they'd be able to port forward to everything in your your network. So, ooh, I was sugar. This this the network that this is connected to is long. The name of it. Oops. Let me take that off screen. It's just like the default one that came with the modem. The password's changed, but like even just the SSID, it's like Huawei B593 something blah blah blah. So it's not one that I can remember off the top of my head. Yeah, so that definitely caught me out a few times, because like the way I noticed it was I was hotspotting to my phone, and I like then uploaded a Blink sketch or something, and I was like, hey, wait a second, like I've something connected to my hotspot even though I'm not doing anything with it. So it's actually, if you've ever used the Wi-Fi manager library, which I really recommend you do, it's really cool. It's just a way of, like, it hosts a web interface for you to type in these credentials. That's how that works as well. Okay, so I uploaded a sketch now that has those details in it. So I connected there. So now I'm going to upload a sketch without those details in it. Well, actually, I'm just going to put in the old placeholders. I'm just going to remove the Wi-Fi begin. So now we'll bring this back, and just to show you now that it's working. So this is not my Wi-Fi details, SSID and password, but I've commented out this begin line. So if I do an upload, is it an accidental feature? I have no idea what it is, to be honest. I think it makes the connection like faster, that it, like if it just reuses the old one. So like with IoT styled devices, like ideally you want this to connect as fast as possible, so you can put it in like a low powered mode, and then when it connects, it works okay. Or sorry, yeah, when it powers up, it'll connect as fast as possible. So I guess it's something to do with that. I'm not fully sure though. Like you can just simply tell it to turn off Wi-Fi as well, like, and it'll stop doing that. But yeah, your connection details are stored there, and I guess some people don't realize that. So yeah, you can see here one of those features of Windows where I shook the thing around too much. That'll do okay. Ticker info. Yeah, where's my serial monitor? Okay, so it connected fine there, even though I've the Wi-Fi that begin commented out. So I could comment out any Wi-Fi code that's in here, and it'll still do this connection. So interesting enough. Alright, so that is that much. Now that we have connected to the Wi-Fi, let's do some also that Wi-Fi client thing worked, so that's pretty good too. So now let's do we'll create a new method. Let me just bring back OBS and the chat. No, sorry about that. And here we go. Yes, so we'll create a new method, and we'll call it, I don't know, grab get router connection data, I guess. Seems like as good a thing to do as anything. So I guess as well, maybe you create a struct or something, like an object to store this in. I am going to do that. I'm going to be super lazy and just create global variables. So I guess I don't need to pass in anything to connection mode. I might keep that there. Just for the moment, because if I did tidy it up in the future, you know, your method should pass in the value. Signal mode reading, connection mode reading, signal reading. Okay, so we'll just when we get that data back, we'll just save it there. But the first thing I want to do is actually make this connection at all. So let's see, how do I want to do this? Okay, so string body. So that's just where we're gonna save the, like, it's kind of a stream of data you get back from a client connection. So we want to save that somewhere, so we'll just save it to a body. So we need to first connect to the place. Oh, we need to initialize a client as well, so that should just be Wi-Fi client. That should be all we do with that, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not a pointer anymore, it's an actual object. So we'll hash define a host. So this is the URL that we connect to. So for no, sorry, this is the IP address that we're going to connect to. So I guess it should be that. I'm not fully sure on that. I think that should be it. I don't know if I need to wrap it in a string or not. Never actually connected to an IP address before, I don't think. We'll see. And the port is just going to be port 80. Nearly for all HTTP requests, it's going to be 80, and then HTTPS is 443. So that should get us out of that. So let's test that this works first. So let's put in a serial here. So serial dot println connected to host. So before we go any further, let's make sure that that works and everything compiled. So we just want to make sure that the ESP is connecting to the router, so we can, you know, attempt to make a connection. Yeah, so this is not working, so let's try that instead. What are we looking? 10 to 11. Not too bad. Got 10 people watching. That's pretty high for me, actually, with live streams. Let me just check. I posted on Reddit earlier to see if there's any questions on that or anything. Nope, it's got a massive 9 upvotes. Big dog. Let me just mute that. I don't know where it's playing out of, but okay, so that uploaded. Okay, serial monitor connected to host. So perfect. That's connecting. Okay. So now we need to do a post. So yeah, so you kind of need to manually do out. You need to manually do out like post connections, or sorry, connections. It's a little bit different than what you'd probably normally kind of think about. So, but the curl is actually, I mentioned it earlier, curl is like a command line tool. You can make requests with that, and there's certain commands with it, I can't remember them off the top of my head, that allows you to make like print out exactly what it sent to the server, so you can kind of copy across what it sent. And even actually with Chrome, I don't know, where was I doing that? Is that it's in here, right? With Chrome, you can kind of see what it sent as well. Let's drag this across here. Network. So you can kind of so here's the request URL. Can you? I thought there was a way of seeing kind of like the raw request. There is, right? Get status. Copy. You can copy request headers. You can copy it as a curl command. Yeah, I don't see where like raw requests are, but yeah, basically like you just print out the stuff. So yeah, I'd recommend taking a look at curl for that. You can download it on Windows too. I've never actually used it on Windows, just on my Mac. Okay, so what we're going to be connecting to here is not this 192.168.1.1. We've already done that with our open in the socket connection, so it should be just connecting to this index get status by Ajax. So let's grab that, and we'll, yeah, I guess I'll leave I'll get rid of command. I'll just leave in that random ID if that's what it is. So let me go back to, yep, host. I suppose I'll print out host as well. So yeah, so this is, so basically like we're opening a connection to the HTTP client, and then we're like printing like the HTTP requests like line by line into it. So it's kind of unusual actually. I don't know if you're not used to it or whatever. So let me just see what type of request headers that were sent. So this sent a good lot of different request headers. So let's maybe bring back in Postman to see what request headers it sent. So because we want as little as possible. So we didn't actually send any headers in Postman by the looks of things, unless it like preset any. I don't see any. We might just send the post the way it is. Sure, we'll set host and we'll see what happens as this. So we've set host. Do we want a content type? No, I don't think so. I think we could just send that and see what happens. Like sometimes you need to request like I want like JSON type back or whatever, but I think we could be okay. Sure, we'll see if we have any issues. And yeah, so normally with posts you would pass in a content length. I might pass that in, and this is going to be 0 because we're not actually posting any data in with the body. So let's do that. So we're going to pass in host and content length, and we're going to pass in 0. I can just actually put that here rather than printing out a new one. So yeah, each header is on its own line. So oops. So you can see like these things that are on the same line. So this client.print will print on the same line, and then this client.println will move it down to the new line character. So I could actually move that in here. I don't know why I don't have it, but I'll just keep it the way I have it at the moment. And then the last thing we want to do is when you send the end of your headers, you send a blank new line, and that indicates to the far end, hey, I'm finished sending headers. Now you need to respond to me. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so that should be the request done. but we then need to parse. What do we need to do? We need to println out, so that would be the data, but I don't have any data to send it, so maybe I just do a second client println. So normally you would, at this stage, you would print in the data, but I don't have any data, so I'll just do a second println and see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this code completely and edit it afterwards, because I might need some of it. So like there's some things where like the headers comes back first and we need to kind of ignore them. So let me grab from here down to the bottom. I'm definitely going to need to get rid of some of this stuff. For example, this return, and I have too many. Right, so headers, I don't want the headers. I don't care about them. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here, actually, before I do anything else, I'm just going to print out. I'm just going to print out the messages that I get back. So I'm just going to comment all of this stuff except this thing. I need that for my while loop, I presume. Yep. So this is reading the. So this is checking while the client is available. Print out or read what it has. So it reads it character by character. So if I do a serial dot print C, it should print out everything we get back from the response onto the serial monitor, and we can check is that valid, and then we can go about parsing out the data that we want. Okay, cool. So let's upload that and hope that that works. No, now is not defined. So see, the reason you might have now here is basically like if it fails, you don't want it to just hang there forever. So that actually shouldn't be a long. That should be an unsigned long. Unsigned long. Just Millie's returns an unsigned long. So that's actually a bug. Oops. And you can hear my dogs being called in. Okay. That. Oh, okay. So I have a bad amount of. Yes, I don't have enough. I don't have enough brackets anymore. Control Shift T. There is a command to format my code, and I always forget it. Is it just Control T? Yeah, Control T. Okay. Then let me just check. While is there. That while is there. That if is there. Yep. Okay, that should be good. So let's upload. Yeah, I won't be making this into its final product this evening anyways. Like once I get I'll probably finish up the stream once I get it displaying on screen, like even just this data here, and probably in another stream I can look at making it tidying it up a bit, maybe make it into a video. I'm not too sure. It might be a bit specific to my router, but I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, so it's done uploading. So if we open our serial monitor, it's already opened. Cool. So if I just stop it scrolling here, so you can see that, so this is a single response here, and then the rest of this line as well. So we get back the headers here, so we get a cookie back and stuff like that. Yeah, that's probably a response actually, the cookie. So that's all good, and then we get the body of it back here, this XML. So this is the part we're interested in. We're not interested in the headers at all. So you can see here we get a signal value back, and it's 22, and we get a mode name back here, and it's 4G. So because it's in XML, it should actually be pretty easy to parse out. Like, we're just searching for mode name, and we're searching for end mode name, and we want everything in between that. So we might write a method where we pass in this string, and we say, hey, return me the value of whatever's in between mode name or WAN error code, or that would make it flexible enough that we can parse out whatever piece of data that we want from it. So that should be good. Okay, cool. But first thing we need to do is we need to throw away the headers. We want to just be considering the body. And okay, so what we're going to do for that is we received a response. I don't remember why that's important. I'm sure it is. I guess we'll uncomment all of this, and we'll put back in whatever we need to put back in. Okay, so if finished headers, yeah, so the way we know that the headers have stopped is there's a blank line between them. So that's a new line character there, and then there's a second new line character. So if there's two new line characters in a row, that's how you know it's that's how you know the body has started. So we flag if the character is a new line character, that means that we've moved down to a new line. So now if the next character is a new line character, that means that what precedes is going to be the body. So current line is blank. So if current line is blank and we've a new line character, we're finished with the headers. So if we're finished with the headers, so like we could save the headers to a value here, but I don't want them for anything, so I don't care. So if finished headers is true, which it will be after this, we will get into this else, and so this will take and append it to the body and character count. I don't think I need character count. I think it was just for the Telegram stuff, the response could be huge, so I just I stop it if it's over a certain size or something like that. So debug, I don't have set anywhere, so I might just print out the body. So let's just put in a message here just to make sure that it's working okay. Body. And I'll get rid of this debug. So response is received. So if response is received, I'll just break out of this original loop, because if we have everything we need, then so basically we got in here because the client was available. We were in a while loop reading from it all the time. So then if the client is no longer available, we've probably read everything that we want to read from them. And so then if we break out of that loop and we had a response, we're probably finished with them. So we break out of this while loop here. So we're not waiting for that 1500 milliseconds anymore. Okay, cool. So let's comment out this serial printer. That serial printer would actually be really slow because it's printed out character by character, and serial is slow for Arduino. So we didn't really notice anything there. So that'll but that just something to consider, that if you're yeah, I don't need this if at all anymore. I don't even have a max message length anyways. So if your sketch is running a bit slower than it should, or if you have strange timing issues, sometimes you even see people going, hey, my sketch works fine when I have serials messages in it, but it doesn't work if I don't. It's because serial is slow, and it's timing. It's a timing thing. Okay, cool. So it's connected to the Wi-Fi, connected to host. Okay, so I have a problem. I don't know what it is, but let's find out. So response received equals true. I might just get rid of this break. Maybe that could be causing issues. Not fully sure. So if my current line is blank, the rest of that should be okay. I'll just get rid of that break. Yeah, I should actually maybe get rid of this, move that down to here. I'm gonna cause issues here. So it just finished uploading the last one, and I'm trying to upload another one. So probably, yep. Got a Java exception. It's no big deal though. We can just upload it again. So has anybody been working on anything interesting project-wise? As I mentioned, I haven't been working on much. I've been working on a video for the Secret Santa present I made before Christmas, so hopefully that'll be... I hope to have it finished next week, but I'm not sure. So yeah, we're getting our body back here now, so I guess we were just having some issue where the response came back to us, but it hadn't finished. So yeah, we'll should be okay with that anyways. I'm not too worried about the delay hanging on, or we can make the delay a little bit shorter. So it just waits for 1 second instead. I could probably check for like the end of the XML or whatever, but I don't really care. Yeah, it'll be fast enough for what we want it for. So now we have a body. So I might change this to be like, yeah, get router connection data. So that's right, and we'll change this from a void to be a string, and we will return a body from it at the end of it, because that, you know, gets us basically the connection details. And what else we do here? So we'll create a new one, which we'll call void, and we'll call this, so we have this one, which is get router connection data, and we'll call this one parse. Yeah, I don't know, I can't think of anything else. Router, it's not a great name, but it's fine. And I will create another method, which is a string, and extract value from XML. Get that to pass a string, and call that node name. So yeah, we're gonna say we wanted to get the contents of Wi-Fi. Yeah, so for this extract value from XML, we'd pass in Wi-Fi. So yeah, we need to use some JavaScript or Arduino string manipulation, string objects. Is it this one, string, or do we know reference? Okay, this isn't the page I was expecting. String. It's a variable, data type. There's a better page than this. Okay, they've changed the page maybe. So I want to get index of yeah, so I want to search for, in that example, Wi-Fi, and find like the index of that, and find the index of /Wi-Fi, and get the index of that, and then just take anything in between. So from to start the search from. Interesting. It'll probably save us a little bit of time if I use that for the second one. So okay, let's go back to here. So let's do this extract from value first. So let's grab this thing here. Oh, I need node name, and I also need the XML string, I guess. Yep. Continuum, I don't know if you retracted the message or if an auto mod retracted it, but I can't see whatever you sent anyways. Okay, so string index from, so yeah, we need our XML string, so that's going to be this guy, and we want start node, I guess, is equal to that. We need to build up what the node is now as well, so index, and I guess we'll do a string here as well, so start node. So this this should be like that plus node name plus that. So that will get us our start node. Let's get rid of this from for the moment. So, but yeah, before we go any further, let's make sure that this works. So I'll just do a serial dot print of this. Oops, serial print and start node index. So yeah, we just want to check that everything we've done so far is working out okay. So we'll change that to that. Change that to in here. We'll grab this. So this will get us back our XML string. Oh, I spelled the string wrong below. So that gets us our XML string, and then we're going to be extracting value from. So let's put an XML string here, and the two value types that we want are sig, and we also want what was it? Mode name. So I can probably just grab that from there, maybe. Yeah, so I need to return a value from this, so I'll just return a blank string for the moment. So I'm going to upload that now. So what we should see here is two different, okay. We should see two different indexes coming back. Yeah, we should be able to use that then to parse out the data that we want. I'll probably need to get the length of the node name, you know, this here as well. So I'd imagine the index it gives me is going to actually be like this character. So I'll need to find the stuff in between. Okay, so I'm getting back -1. So it's failing sometimes. Okay, it failed the first few times, but now it's working. That's interesting. So maybe my response had been okay where it was. So maybe I might just move that, because yeah, it failed the first 5 or 6 times it was called. And then started working, and it hasn't failed since. So, I have no idea what would cause that. So, okay. So we're getting the different values here. So 73 and 247. So if I grab this and we bring back in Atom here. I need to make a full screen. I definitely can get rid of you. That was my cookie from earlier. So if I go, so I'm looking at SIG. Is it SIG? It was 73. Was it 73? So yeah, it's the first. There might even be an extra character here, but it's definitely giving me back here. So I need to add that much onto it. I think to get like the 22 part. So, but it seems to be working okay. Other than that, okay. So let me just repeat this again to get. So this is going to be the end node. So that's, so /sig, and we need end node index. And where is my Arduino reference? So I should be able to go back here, and we get length. Yeah, so string.length. So I guess, yeah, what I'll do here is I'll just serial print then start node index. So this is going to be where the start of the string is, and I'm going to add on start node.length. And just out of curiosity, I don't know if it'll work straight away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to there should be a substring. Yeah, substring. So from and to. So I'm just going to try put in the values straight away and see what happens. I might need to adjust them by 1. I can never really remember what I want to do. So I've got the index of the start of the thing, and I've got the index of the end of the thing. So I want the substring to basically, hey, extract out the goodness for me, please. So from, we'll try that. So that's the start one plus the length of it. So I'm hoping that'll be the start of the actual value. We'll see. Yeah, it could be wrong. We might need to adjust it. And then we want end node index as well. So we probably want to error check these as well. So like, let's do that too. So if start node index is equal to -1, or end node index equals -1. So if the search fails, it will return -1. So I guess we can just return nothing here. I guess because we don't have whatever value that is. see if that works out okay. It didn't. Oh, string is not something I have, so it should be XML string. That should be okay. No. Invalid use of member function. Did I forget something? Does it not like me adding these values? Oh, the thing it's complaining about is length. And it's complaining about it up here too. Makes sense. Excuse me. Okay, so we're building this. Yeah, like finding out whether it's you know, 4 bars or 3 bars or anything like that. I'm not gonna do that this evening. So a lot of -1s. Her body is okay. It's printing the body a huge amount of times where it is now. Oh, I don't have the break anymore. Oops. But it's blank a lot. Yeah, I'm just gonna move that back out again. When you're watching my videos, I hide all this madness from you. It's probably going to throw an exception in Java because I was in the middle of uploading when I uploaded a new one. That seems to work out okay. I don't know if this is the right version that it's uploading, but we'll see. It's -1, -1. I should probably label what I'm printing out. Okay. So, oh yeah, I'm not doing anything with this. Let's just throw it straight onto the screen and see what happens. Why not? I don't know if that's working right, but sure. Connection mode reading, that's the wrong one. Let's put it down there. And then the other one was signal reading. Oops. And we can serial these as well, although it should be on screen by the time we're finished. I guess this just makes it a little bit easier for testing. And again, we can kind of comment out these in the final product, although for something like this, you know, timing isn't an issue whatsoever. So it shouldn't cause any problems. Now the last thing we need to do is pass these values into our display info. And yeah, I still don't know why the first few failed. That's interesting. I don't know, because like the very first one we did worked okay, so like that's just not getting back a body. Yeah, I really should be checking if body is blank. Don't bother. If body is so it's still blank on screen. I haven't gotten a successful connection yet. Maybe my luck's run out. I did move it there. So I haven't received a response yet. Maybe I'm not waiting long enough because I did change this. Yeah, sure, let me change that to even, let me change it to 2 seconds, so it'll wait for 2 seconds, which is fine. Like I only need this to update maybe every minute. It would be loads, but it's just for, you know, testing purposes. I have it set to every second, but yeah, every minute would be loads for this. Connected to host, failed. Connected to host, failed. Let's try Postman. Oh, it's actually very slow. Maybe it just doesn't like my random ID. Let me just pull out the power from this for a minute. Maybe I'm inadvertently denial of service attacking it. I don't know. 1111. It has, yeah, so that's really slow. It took 6 seconds. So it's not the ESP's fault at all. So this is from my PC. I made a request and it took 6 seconds for it to get back. Okay, it took way shorter then. So I think I might be requesting it too often when I'm using the... do you know what it is? I'm not closing my connections. I'd say that might be it. So I don't actually often do that. So I need to look up what that is. ESP8266 client close. Example needs a client.close. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. I'm not actually using Arduino 2.4, but sure, that's okay. Client we got her client.stop. Okay, let's add that in. Let's bump up the delay as well. Oops, that is not the right thing. Router info. Let's bring back my not that one, this one. And bring back router info. Sorry. Okay, so let's. Okay, client.stop. I guess I only need client.stop if it connected. That response received is too far out for the break. That's, is it? Yeah, that's even outside the, if it connected at all, but I guess that doesn't really matter too much. So client.stop, I'll move this down here. I'll change the delay. I'll make it so it's every 10 seconds. And yeah, this should work okay if I move it in here. So it's within client.available. Oh, I want it outside client.available. Break. Okay, let's try that out. Oops. Oh, I disconnected my board, so the upload failed, unsurprisingly. There was a new version of ESP8266 Core released in the last few days. I'm still on the old one. I have a couple of other Arduino IDE installations on my PC, so I kind of try out the different ones, and it does seem pretty good actually, the new one. I think it's more memory efficient and stuff. So built, but it's not displaying anything on my screen anyways. Connected to host, so yeah, it's still not working great. Yeah, so this here again. Look how slow that is. I'll just plug out the board. We're at like 10 seconds now. So is the ESP has to be causing some issues with the router. I wonder, is that why it was stopping the stream at times as well? Like, you know, it replies pretty instantly when the ESP is plugged out, but it doesn't reply that fast when it's plugged in. I can probably call a client.stop even if it fails to connect. It does connect to the host. It doesn't get a response back in time. So, like, I haven't gotten a response back from the ESP in a while, so maybe I do need to do a random number. Well, I'm doing 111 here. What am I doing in this? 911. Perfect. No, that comes back fine. So let's see. So I'm doing a post index. That seems fine. I'm doing my client printlns. I'm now doing a client.stop, but only if it connects to the host, which it does. It connects to the host fine. Maybe I just need to do a delay or something. I'll do a delay of like 10 milliseconds. I can't imagine that would help. I'll do a delay here as well. Oh, I really don't think that would help. Break will get me out of that while loop. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm disconnected from the board again. Oopsies. I caught it while it was just compiling though. No, I didn't. Unless it changed port. Which it might have, because I don't see it. No, I see it. Port 3. So it uploaded. And it's failing to connect again. So it's receiving a response because it's printing the body. So let's add back in the print and see what it's replying. Is it replying, hey, you're requesting me too much, go away? Or what is it doing? So I have a feeling it's gonna just send back blank. I probably should have put in something. Okay. Body is blank. Ah. So let's get rid of this break. I'll get rid of this print too. So I think the problem is that it's... I think the problem is that it is sending back the things in different chunks. So like the actual response isn't ready by the time it sends back the headers, but like I've read through them. The client isn't available anymore. So we'll see. So I've gotten rid of the printing of the body altogether. I'm also going to change this to if XML string dot length is greater than 0, do this stuff. So that will stop it. I can do the formatting to fix that, but so that'll stop it, you know, all those minus values that are being printed out at the moment, because it's searching like an empty string for the presence of these whatevers. So if it failed, you know, I'm just gonna set these things back to null or whatever, blank, so that we're not reporting old values up on screen. So let's do that. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, so it's printing out stuff. Got 4G and 22. Awesome. So that is, let me show you. Oops, that's me. Here we go. So that is actually live. I know it's the same values as we've seen before, but so that's me scraping the XML. So I'm actually not scraping anymore. I'm getting it from like almost like an API, and pulling out the data from that. And yeah, so that's live signals, signal info from my router. So yeah, I'll stay on for a couple of minutes just if there's any questions, but other than that, I think that will be it for today's stream. So yeah, there's a small bit of a delay, so just let me know what your questions are, and we'll do it. Okay. I've got 5 interactions on Twitch, so good old ESP8266 mentioned me. Did I call it a love stream? Oh yeah. Oops. On Twitter, I messaged out that I was doing a love stream instead of a live stream. Oopsies. Okay. Right, guys. If you have any more questions, anyways, well, if you have any questions, because I didn't get any, leave them in the comments of this video. It'll go up as a VOD on YouTube. So, okay. Thanks a lot.